Again, we're going to have some bikers go by once in a while. And then we just put it up there. And so I'm not doing exactly like it is out there. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. And the background greens, I've noticed this next week, my greens, I'll do a newsletter about greens because I'm going to see if I can't start liking them a little bit better than I do. And so what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to do the background green just a little bit lighter. And I'm working on a gessoed board. So if you're wondering why it looks kind of weird, it's a gessoed board that has little things on it back and forth, like the gesso. It's absorbent ground, and basically what I do, it acts like paper. You can buy that boards like this. Ampersand has boards like this, but I just made up my own, and it's absorbent ground. And so I'm gonna just put my lights in like I do normally. And so I take my yellows, and I'm gonna put the yellows in where I want the bright sunlight to be across everything. So if you see,
cool.
Another bikers, like I said, and there's gonna be a few bikers going by every once in a while. And here in the front, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some yellow, and that's what I think I miss about doing the green. Is like it really is the greens that you get out of tube. A lot of times they're just too vibrant and too colorful. These grays out here are a lot of orange in the green. So again, I start with my lightest lights, and then I'm gonna work it more like almost like an acrylic, because I'm working big areas of light, and I'm gonna rub out, and you can do that on this board, and it's more like an oil painting board. It's almost, and I can make it thick, like a gouache. I'm just putting in the yellow right now, or yellow and white. I always like to put a little white in my yellow. And again, this is going to be part of the plants that are way in front here. There's some plants right here in front. If you look right there, these little raspberry bushes. There's raspberry bushes right in front here, and actually I was eating some of them. They're pretty good. And so we're going to be starting with them. And I will maybe have to put a biker in there. So there, I'm putting a little light blue with the yellow and let it mix its own greens. And I'm letting it run down. I want it to be pretty washy. And again, I'm working, I kind of had a value study in my head as there's going to be a dark, everything in the background is going to be light, and the foreground here is we're going to have a little bit dark underneath these lights. And so basically there's going to be a shadow right down the middle of this. So, and these trees back here, and see the sun's going to be moving, so I got to move this every once in a while. See, the sun's on my palette, and you don't want that. And I broke another umbrella. I can't believe I broke another umbrella. Brand spanking new umbrella. I broke it. Sorry, I can't look at. I don't have my glasses on, so if anybody's asking anything, I can't look at it because it's too small and I can't read it. I think some of you guys are talking up there, and so just talk away. I can't read it. So didn't bring my glasses on my trip. I have to move this a little bit so I get it out of the sun, because you don't want to paint in the sun. You do not want to paint in the sun. It just doesn't. The values are all wrong then, and everything like that. So just don't paint in the sun. That's all I gotta say about that. And so now I'm gonna do the path here. The path is a little bit more orange. And so we're just gonna kind of do a little path here. And what I'll do is I'm gonna make the path a certain color. It's a really nice trail here up in northern Wisconsin, not northern Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin. It's about, I would say, 10 miles away from Lake Geneva. And it's a beautiful, beautiful trail. There's not much water. I was looking for water to paint. There's a bog and a little bit things like that. But this is about the best I could do for finding, because there's a beautiful, beautiful trail. It's just sunlight going through the forest, basically. And so again, get some of this yellow in there. Another biker just went by. So now let me get this foliage back here in the distance, background. And normally I would do a big value study, but I didn't bring my sketchbook for one, and I'm using this as my sketching. So I'm basically using this painting as a sketching platform. Morning. And so this is the background foliage back there, and I will make it a lot duller than it is that you see, because if you look at it the way you see it, it's, I should pull back a little bit so you guys can see the riders going by. Yeah, you probably want to see the painting though, right? And so I like to get a little dappled light through here. And these trees back here, I'm going to make, instead of making them, see right now everything is the same color, but if you do that, the exact same color, nothing will be in the background, foreground, and so I'm going to dull this down a little bit. I was taught that by Robert Wade from Australia. He had taught me that, to dull down the blues and the things in the background, and the greens especially. And so here I'm going to take a little bit of this green, mix it with a little bit of this red, and make a kind of a brownish gray, because these trees are pretty much warm colored, and then they have white on the edges of them, and I'm going to rub that out. Those are definitely too dark right now, and so see, with this board I can actually pull it out. So you can get yourself ampersand board, or I did this hard board, and I chose to do this only because I can rub out and stuff, and with the paper you can do that too, but the paper you have to be a little bit more on and do my value study, and so I decided not to do my value study and just use this as my value study. Basically I'm doing a painting that's just going to be, this is just a study. I'm kind of like, because I can take things out of here, put things back in. I'm not looking to make this like this is the painting, this is a sketch. And I can work this board forever and ever, because it's a gessoed board. It's a gesso absorbent ground. Again, if you was in here before, I'm using absorbent ground. And if you're asking questions, sorry, I can't actually look and see if you have any questions. I can maybe look later on, and I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel when I get back home. Right now it's on Facebook, only because I think I've got enough here to people to watch. I hope it's not cutting in and out. We're in the middle of the forest, and I think I got enough bars. Yeah, we're just going to go down here. And so see, I'm just bringing things forward. As they come forward, you'll get, and my center of interest is basically the path right through here, and the dappled light in here. And I may even put opaques and use like gouache, because I do have white with my watercolor, and I can make it kind of gouache, if that's a term, gouache. And so we'll another biker going through. This is actually the section that's pretty easy. I got to this point and I was like, okay, this is a little easier now with the pedal. Some of this is pretty tough trail through here. I'm amazed at the amount of bikers they have going through here on a weekend, on a Sunday. So again, see how my trees are making them a little bit more green. I'm pushing them back. This one's gonna be a lot darker. And when it comes to floating the pigment, you can do that too on the board. It does absorb a lot. So you do have to use a lot of paint, and again, I'm getting my big areas. Those are basically, these are my lights, and now they're lights coming on part of my palette. Shoot me off my palette. See, like I did that video just recently about, don't have light on your thing, but I do have an umbrella here, but it just broke. It broke in half. Brand new, brand spanking new. Alright, now I think I got all my lights. Now let's go for our darks and work our way forward. I'm getting darker and darker. This tree I want to get even darker. And let's just go with some blues. Shoot, I got to get this out of the light. Move it back again. There we go. So now I'm going to go back in here. And another thing you want to watch out for is don't put sunglasses on. I had my sunglasses on before, and you can barely see. I can't see the right values, and so you have to get kind of used to that. You can keep them on, but then keep them on through the whole time, so that it has the same kind of look. But I find I need to really take them off, because if I have them on, I don't see the right values and colors. And then when I take them off, I'm like, holy smokes! Look at how different everything looks. So now I'm getting the background darks. And so I'm going to kind of see how it's dappled the light through here. So this is the background. I put this right into the side of the tree. The side of the tree will be light. And I'm graying it down. I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's a lot grayer. And now the sun is shining on me really brightly. So this is going to affect my canvas. You can see probably my bright red shirt into the canvas. See how bright red my shirt is? So I'm going in here, and I'm using my big 1 1/4 inch brush right now. I'm just going in here, and as you notice, the green I'm making very, very dull, very, very dull back there. I don't want it bright, because the greens back there should be, and I'm kind of taking liberty on this one, because if you look at the scene, everything is the exact same green, the exact same yellows from the foreground to the background. And so you have to push that to show a little bit more dimension in your work. So I'm putting a little bit more greenish gray in the distance back here where it's dark. And I'm not making it quite as dark as I will make it really dark right in front here. But this tree, I want that then to really come forward. And this is the background. And it's all about this trail right here, and the trail leading right into this area where the bikers just kind of come out of there or go into that area. And I'm not sure if I can film this whole thing being done, because it's not going to take probably a little bit more than an hour this time, because work a little bit slower outside. And you just take your time and just have fun with it outside when you're plein air painting. And again, this board allows me to kind of wipe out and put back in, and so basically I'm just working it as a sketch. I'm working it as a sketch and just see where I can get light and dark, and I'm almost doing it like a value study or a color study. And now let's get this. I'm going to establish my darkest dark, just so that I know what my darkest dark is going to look like. So there's a purple right here, and that tree has green reflected into it, but the purple will be great to mix with the green. So quinacridone gold. I want to make this the darkest dark right here, and I want to kind of establish that just so that I know where my darkest dark is going to be, and I can regulate everything off of that darkest dark. And because then I can make this dappled. I can go in there and make the ground. I can make that nice and dark green. Make this a nice dark green. And this is the shadow. This will be the shadowed leaves. Let me get my other brush. Anytime you're going to smaller, I did the big areas, and I'm going to take my smaller brush, my smaller round. Well, my bigger round, I'm just going to go in here and start establishing some leaves in there. These are the dark ones against the light, because I already put my light down, right? I have that down there. So I can come in here now and just establish where the lights are coming through. The trail here. I'm going to switch the color when I get to the trail. And then back over here. Dapple that up again. Here, I'm going to make it not quite as dark, and I'm going to make it just whatever color I have in my brush right at the moment, which is green. And I'm going to put opaques in here. I know it sounds weird that I'm using opaques with watercolor, but it'll be good to just, again, I'm using this as more of a sketch, and so I'll make this dark. Break this across. And those shadows are actually purple. If I look really close, they're very purple. very purple and blue from the sky, so I'm going to make them just go in there with a little bit of purple. Here come some more bikers. And maybe in the end I actually put a biker in there. Should take a couple shots with my camera and then put them in later when I get back home. You can do that too. So I'm putting in the shadows, flipping them around. Like this whole area back over here next to this tree is kind of darker. So I'm going to make that like a dark green, but a dull dark green. I'm going to wipe out some parts. I'm going to wipe out to get some of the nice, or I'm going to use white with the, for some of the foliage. That'll be kind of fun to do. A little darken here. And everything is really dappled. I mean, there's so many leaves. Everything is a leaf, so you can't go wrong with putting just a lot of dots everywhere. Because if you look at it, basically that's what everything is.
Can you get a picture of you? Or of the painting?
Oh. I'm actually recording right now on Facebook, so.
Cool. All right, take care.
Thanks.
Yeah, it looks good.
Thanks.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Oh, thanks. So now we're going to get a little dark green in here, I thought, to get underneath and do some negative painting of the leaves up front here. I have this clip in here. I'll do that later. I have a clip that's right there. I can't paint around it, but this is my made-up setup that I got going here. I have to show you how I set this up. This easel, made it myself with all like a baking sheet and a regular easel. And a cutting board, and a cutting board. And so now let's get these trees a little darker coming up. This tree nice and dark. Yeah, it's too bad I couldn't read this. If I could read it, yeah, I didn't bring my glasses, so talk away amongst yourselves. I cannot read it. Don't have my glasses. My sunglasses won't work either. So let's see. It is beautiful out here. If you ever get a chance, just come out, and you can hike it too. There's hiking trails all around this area. It's near the Kettle Moraine area here, and near Whitewater, Wisconsin. Not too far from Whitewater. And I'll make this up here. This tree right here is the darkest, and so we're really going to make this dark.
Oh, that's awesome.
Morning. Thanks. So now we'll do another one here. There are a lot of bikers out here. It's amazing. I can't believe how many have gone by while I was doing this. So establish like your lightest, darkest one, which is this one right here. And then as you go back, they can be dark, but just don't make them as dark. And also make them grayer. So a grayer brown, brownish blue. And so like this one, I know they are really in real life, they are darker, but then it's not going to fall back as much as the other ones will. And then I'm going to do a couple of my secret way of doing pine trees with this brush is labeled down with this. Hey. I kind of push this brush sideways to get that look of pine needles. And I hope there's no rocks around here that are going to fly when these guys go by. I know this is all sand. There's more sand right here. to make it a little bit darker. See, this brush, if I push it and push it in, I get that look of pine needles. And so I can make it a little bit darker pine needles. The ones in front will be darker. And first I like to put in a branch. Put in the branch first. Nice thing about this brush is I can make all these really fine little details with the tip of this brush. Can you guys still see? Oh yeah, it's coming out. It's getting there. And again, I mean, I know you could do this where you don't use opaques and you use masking fluid and get all these little fine details. But I'm making it more like an acrylic where I'm just going to lay it, or like in a gouache, I mean. I'm going to use it more like a gouache and then just make it on thick. And I'm going to put a bunch of little dots and stuff for the light leaves and such. And here we're going to do this little... using my rigger brush to get the branches, because it is easier to use a brush that's the exact size of the branch, just to get all these branches. And since I established most of my darks, and so I'm at the point now where I have to get all these details, especially in this tree right here, because this tree is my center of interest, so this one has to be the most important. And so I'm getting all the nice darks in there. And I'm going to have to establish the darks of the shadows a little bit more too. Always establish your dark patterns, and I'm doing that as I'm painting, which a lot of oil painters do. They tend to do that. They don't do a value study like we do. Us watercolors, we usually do like a whole value pattern with our paper and stuff. And so I'm kind of handling it more like an oil, so that I can go back in, which I can go back in here. So put these nice little branches of pine needles back here. Pushing it. Leave a lot of spots open also, because I want to keep more sun or more sky in there than I can see here. And that's the artistic license. You can do whatever you want to make the thing look as what do you want it to look like. I mean, it's your painting. You can do whatever you want to make it look like whatever you want. It doesn't have to look like the scene exactly. I know a lot of people are very into making it like exactly like what's out there, but then you have to really find a really good spot. And I don't have time to find a really, really good spot here. I'd be searching all day for the perfect spot that you can copy it exactly. So you give it a little bit of your own artistic license, and you do what you have to do to make it look really good. Oh, look at a little fly. I'll just leave him in there. I should push him into got a little bug in there. Hey, buddy, get out of there. Let's put a little bit more yellows in this foreground. So I'm going to hop it up a little bit with the lights in here. Because this will be the lightest part in front, and then maybe even some in here. Boy, it's so quiet when there's nobody around here. I can actually hear the wind and the birds chirping. It's just gorgeous out here. I'm waiting for like a deer to pop out. Here we're just going to put a few more pine needles in there. And again, I know it may not look like it, and let me just show you the scene. I'm going to put the scene so you can see the scene more like I'm looking at it. So there's the scene, and you look at the painting, it doesn't look identical to that. Again, I took artistic license in it, and I'm making it look like the way I want it to look. And when I get back in the studio too, I can do more to it also to make it look like what I want it to look like. And let's see, there we go. Oop, that was gonna be for here. found that it's nice to take a ride, but then I thought, you know, why not? Well, since I'm out here already riding on these beautiful places that I ride with the thing, why not bring the plein air set with me and just set up and paint? Because then, you know, for one, it gives you time to relax. I'm not in that great a shape where I yet can ride the whole thing. And actually, last time I was here, I had passed out. That was a year ago, and that's a long story. But, but this year, I took it nice and easy. I have a lot of water bottles with me, and so it's all good. All right, I think we're going to go now into our. I'm going to take some white with some light greens, and I'm just going to start making some beautiful foliage all over the place. I'm going to take my smaller round brush. I take like a number 8 round brush. Take like a number 8. I'm going to use white, yellow, maybe with a light blue, and make it really vibrant. And I'm going to pick in here and pick and choose where I want all these little dots of super bright leaves to be. And they're almost like whitish yellow. You know, they're really vibrant. And again, the sun's on my palette, so I got to move it back again out of the sun. And I'm going to move this back a little bit. There we go. All right. And so now, oh, I hit it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for, okay, right here, my center of interest. And I'm going to get a bunch of little, you know, on my eye look here because there's all this light shining right across behind here, and so this has all these beautiful little lights are so bright right here. The happy little plants. Little Bob Ross, happy little forest. If a squirrel comes up now, I'm talking like Bob Ross, it's gonna shock me. So here we go, we're just gonna put these little lights in here. See, I just put little lights in there, it just pops it. And then you can also put some dark behind it too, and negative paint it again. And then in front of this, you can do some really big ones. And this is sort of like in lieu of negative painting, because I can negative paint this because this is the color and then negative paint around it. So this is what watercolors have a hard time with, is negative painting. So I'm eliminating that by just using white paint and just making it light. What the heck? You know, so don't feel bad about it. Just gouache, people who use gouache, this is all they do. They make it, they use white paint, or they use paint that's opaque, and then you just tap it on there thicker. And so I've gotten used to using my watercolor almost like gouache, because I just add white. I add titanium white to it, and then we just do this, dap a little light in here, and on the side of the tree I can actually use it more like gouache here. I'm going to use white and a little bit of the lavender and put it on the side of the tree and hit the lights that are coming off the side of the tree. And basically, this is my center of interest. Center of interest meaning that's where I want you to look first. And I probably will put a biker in there when I get home. And I'm going to take a bunch of shots when I get done here. I'm going to take a bunch of shots of people and maybe pick one and then just put them in there afterwards. Again, because this is a sketch. This is not a finished painting. It's an outdoor plein air piece that I'm going to use more as a sketch than as a finished work. And then you could do it again, like do it in your studio and do a job, take a bunch of pictures, and then use it for purposes of doing a better painting. Though, I mean, it's going to be a fine painting, and it will be on my daily painting, I'm sure, one time. But basically, I use this as more of I'm not thinking, because a lot of times many of you are too worried about making sure that it really turns out, you know, and then it kind of tightens you up and makes it where you're not learning. So get to the point where you're just having fun and trying things, and, you know, don't worry if it doesn't work out exactly right. And don't get upset or uptight that you didn't do it the first time or whatever. You know, I don't know what's going to happen here. I never know. And sometimes I do some decent stuff, and sometimes it's not exactly what I wanted. and you can take it back into your studio, do another one, and then the second one always is like, you notice when I do every Thursday night, the second one's always better. So again, this is a good example of just getting in there and sketching. All right, just getting my darks, establishing some darks in here. Some of these guys but they really ride fast. So fast that I usually get out of the way. They just call ahead of time, and I just go to the side because I have a big backpack on me. I'm gonna put a few more branches in here. Some nice. You can never put enough branches when you're in a forest like this. I mean, look out there. You can simplify, which I also do. I simplify things, and so that's great. Kind of simplify the things. They come and buy in packs, I guess. Now let's do some negative painting in here. This is now the negative painting. I'm going to try to make up some really close up leaves of these raspberry bushes. The raspberry bush has looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves on each end of it. So that's how you figure out things. You know, when you're on nature, and look at them and count like leaves on and things, and you can then go in there. And next time you know that if you ever want to do a raspberry leaf, at the end of each raspberry bush, there's like 5 leaves at the very end. You know, things like that is. I'm hopefully going to get that sketchbook out of here one of these days. And it's about learning and memorizing things in nature and in real life. And then when you go to paint them, you know then that if I ever want to just fake in a raspberry bush leaf, I can just do that. Morning. And so here what I'm doing. So see, that's five leaves, and that makes the raspberry bush. And I can make another couple leaves, and I'm kind of painting around them, I guess. And then down here, I'll make them even darker. Try to lose some edges here. And so we're going to go in here, and I will also, again, put in some opaque in there when I feel like I don't have enough and I'm making it dark. And then I'll go back in and I'll just use my white paint and my yellow, and I'll put some positive light parts in there. And so whatever makes it look good, that's what you're looking for. Make it look good. Here's I'm going to make some branches in there, just put in some lines, and then we can, like I said, put in the opaque over them. A lot of people don't like painting outdoors because there is a lot of problems. I mean, there's like sunlight hitting parts you don't want it to hit if you don't get an umbrella. Like I said, I did have an umbrella, but it broke again, and it's brand new. I have to see if I can't fix it. And so now I got 3 of them that are, one's good still that I got from one of my students. And so we'll see if I can paste them all together or make at least 2 good ones out of the 3 or 2 bad ones. Negative painting. Put some dark leaves too. Now don't be afraid of dark leaves on top of light. See, here's some dark leaves. I'm just going to put them in against the light area. That happens a lot too. Light against dark, dark against light. And even with this brush, you can do that little technique of the pine tree needles. And All right, one more thing with the white, and then we'll be done, guys. Just gonna do some more lighter leaves. See, I just use a thick white with a yellow. And we just go in here and we just paint right on top of it. It's thick. I use a titanium white, and I use titanium white and yellow. And as you notice, there's not really anything that's really vibrant green, like you get out of a tube. That's the part I don't like. A lot of times you get these paintings where they have these greens that just look so unnatural. I mean, these greens are subtle, and there's a lot of orange in these greens. And so let's make some that are a little bit more lime green. I should get a permanent green light that's kind of like a lime green. And that's not a bad one to have in your. Here again, you do 5 little leaves to make it look like 5 leaves on the end. So if you look here, see? Ow! They also have thorns. So there's, if you look, there's 5 leaves in there. 1, 2, 3. That's the end of a raspberry bush. And so if you notice that, you always remember that, then you'll know. And don't pick them because they have thorns on them. I just stuck my finger with. And so just put 5 leaves, and they can be in any order, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And over here. All right. Let me think. Is that okay? Let me take this camera off, and we'll just. I think we're pretty much close to done, guys. So here we are out in John Muir biking trail, mountain biking trail, and I think that's pretty it. Let's see if I can see. I love your setup, David. Already thinking in my head how get this out of there. I get street with a rectangle and going to Assen. Bring them on camera. What does that mean? Bring them on camera. All right. Well, I think let's see. Get this out of the sun, and so there's what we did. Let's see if we can show you what I painted. And I will put a biker in there when I'm gonna take down. I'm gonna sign out, and I'm gonna take a couple more pictures of bikers going through this, and then I'll probably put them in later. You can also work on this later in the studio too, and so it should be fun. And so until next time, guys, have some fun. Have a nice rest of the Sunday, and I'll talk to you. And we'll have this on my new